Hi, everybody. I'm San Francisco Mayor London Breed, and it's great to see all of you here today. And Miguel even dressed up for me today. Looking good. I like your haircut. Looking real good. Well, first of all, let me just say this is a long time coming. And I know many of you are a part of the fabric of what makes San Francisco great. And this LBE program was so important to ensuring that businesses in San Francisco have an opportunity to succeed. And so we were looking at reforming this program to ensure that it is available, it's accessible in general, and that it helps not only those companies that want to get their start and get city contracts and do work in the city, but also we wanted to make sure that once companies are part of the city fabric, that you're able to grow and to thrive and to continue to succeed and then to hire and then to help raise the next generation of contractors in San Francisco. And so the program, of course, has been complicated, it's been challenging, the city is difficult to deal with, and everything in between. And even when I was a member of the Board of Supervisors, we've been talking about reforming this system. And I want to take this opportunity to really thank all of you because especially Darolyn and Miguel, who helped to lead the efforts on getting us to this point where we were able to actually get legislation finished, passed, and now signed today. And I want to thank our city administrator, Carmen, because when she first became the city administrator, I said to her, Carmen, we've been talking about this much too long. There have been all these things on the table. We have to build some consensus. We have to raise the threshold. We have to get to a better place. And she got it done. She's not even been city administrator for a year. This is like a major accomplishment for our city. And I want to also thank President of the Board of Supervisors, Shamann Walton, because he helped to carry the legislation, he helped to usher in these conversations and provide the opportunities for all of us to be here today to sign this legislation. And so I appreciate his leadership. And I appreciate the other members of the Board of Supervisors who are here, who are equally supportive and involved and engaged in our LBE program. Thank you so much, Supervisor Safai and Supervisor Melgar, for being here with us today. And once I sign this legislation, I'm sending all my friends and family from the neighborhood to each and every one of you, and I want you to hire them. Because I know as a result, your businesses are going to grow, you're going to continue to do work in the city, and I know the city is not without its challenges. And I hope that you see how all of you working together, how we are able to accomplish so much more than working apart. So much compromise has been made to get us to this point. And my hope is that this is the start of what could be transformative about this program so that it doesn't depend on who's the mayor, who's the supervisor, but we have a structure now in place to allow for consistent increases in the threshold, to make it easier for someone to enter the program and succeed in the program in the first place. So I am really excited about the future of this. And the last thing I'll say before I turn it over to President of the Board of Supervisors, Shamann Walton, is, getting an opportunity like this, I know, has been amazing for so many of you. And what I really love about Miguel is the conversations we have and the push that he has, not just to make his company a success, but how he wants other companies to be a part of this program and how he has given back to ensure that when someone has an opportunity to participate and grow their own business, he's provided that opportunity. And I know so many of you have done the same. And what that makes for is really a better San Francisco. I want all of you to be working in some capacity with the city, and I also want all of you to be mentors for the next generation that wants to be a part of the city. That's what this program is about, and that's how we're going to make San Francisco a better place, is continuing to work together. And I want to again thank all of you, and at this time, before I sign this legislation, I want to ask President of the Board of Supervisors, Shamann Walton, to come up and say a few words.
We definitely want to say thank you so much, Mayor Breed, and really just want to agree in terms of the fact that this is something that has taken us a while to get to this day. I can even remember being at Young Community Developers and having conversations with our LBEs, our WBEs, our MBEs, and talking about making sure that they have better opportunities to be able to work on jobs here in San Francisco, to contract with the primes, and to really make sure that it's advantageous to be a city business that is based in San Francisco. And so I'm proud of each and every one of you for working together, because when we have conversations with Miguel, and we have conversations with Darolyn, and you have conversations with Patrick, and you have conversations with a whole gamut of business owners from different sectors, the Asian community, African American community, the Latino community, different sectors of employment, and then getting everybody to work together was very important. In fact, in the beginning of the conversation, some of you remember I said, if you all don't work together and go in the room and have these conversations with each other, we're not going to be successful. And you all did that. And so I really want to commend you for getting together, working through the hard details, and then coming to us with a unified front, because that was important for us to be successful. I do want to thank City Administrator Chu. Also, I want to thank Yadira Taylor, who is the city attorney that worked closely to draft this legislation. That is important. And so the last thing I'm just going to say is, this is one step forward. Obviously, we have continued work to do to make sure that our contractors have the advantage when it's time to do business here in San Francisco. But we're going to continue to do everything we can in our roles to make sure that that happens. And I do want to thank and acknowledge Supervisor Safai, Supervisor Melgar for their co-sponsorship and all their hard work with everyone on this as well. Thank you so much. My apologies, I forgot to introduce the person who really had her and her team made this happen and worked very hard. She had to put together all of the things that you all were communicating and all the conversations over the number of years that took us to get to this point. So, City Administrator Carmen Chu, thank you.
Hello, it's so exciting to be here today. I think for many of the folks who've been in the room and who've been in these conversations, I want to thank you all for your patience and continuing to work with us to make sure that we make sure our economic recovery is going to be a strong one and one that is led by our local businesses. I think for many of us who are here, I grew up in a small business as well. We know that when businesses, our local businesses succeed, our communities succeed, right? Our local businesses, they go and they shop in the local areas, they go and they eat at the local restaurants, they hire from the local community, and they know people here. And I just want to say thank you for your continued investment in San Francisco. It makes all the difference to know that you're with us and that you're going to continue to grow your businesses here. The program or the legislation that our mayor is signing today, thanks to also the help of our president, Shamann Walton, Supervisor Safai, and of course Melgar, and the additional members of the board who also co-sponsored, will really do many things. It'll make sure that more local businesses get to participate in our local program and can contract with the city. It's going to mean that we see more prompt payments for our local subcontractors who can ill afford to have money not get paid back or reimbursed. It means that we're going to have pilot programs to really help to make sure we encourage more LBE participation. And I think, as the mayor mentioned earlier, this is a program that's going to really help us to make sure that we incentivize mentor-protege programs and relationships, helping small businesses, the ones that are trying to get off the ground, really succeed. And so I want to thank folks like Miguel, I want to thank folks like Patrick who really invest back in our community and really know how important it is to do that. And so with that, I do want to thank a few folks just quickly from the city side who really made it happen. Of course, Mayor Breed, she mentioned the conversations we had from the very beginning, and I will tell you, it was relentless. As you know, every single meeting I had with the mayor was about how is this program going? You know, are we getting to consensus? Are we figuring out a way forward? So I want to thank her for continuing to push all of us to head in that direction and to get to where we are today. In particular, I want to thank Andrea Brust from her team. She was just an indispensable part of this whole conversation, an amazing, amazing partner. I think Yadira was already mentioned with our city attorney. She knows so much about how contracting works and helped us work through all of the different complexities of contracting because, as you know, our job here is to make sure a good idea gets married with the right administration, making sure we can actually carry out the things that we promise that we're going to do. And of course, I want to thank on my team, Jennifer Johnson, Romulus, and of course, all of the community members, whether it's Juliana Choi from the Coalition of Economic Equity and Alex Chu, the LBAVE Advisory Committee, Darolyn, Miguel, Noel Bonner, Patrick, all the folks who advocated and came to our office. Thank you so, so very much. And with that, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce Miguel Galarza to come on up to speak with us. As you know, he is the owner of Yerba Buena Engineering, but above and beyond that, someone with a big heart who continues to reinvest time and again to people in our community to make sure that we are successful as a city. Thank you, Miguel.
So thank you, everyone, for being here and showing the support that we've had all year for the last 2 or 3 years. It makes a difference. It shows that we're engaged as a community. It shows that we believe in the true spirit of government and making the government working for us because they can make a difference for all of our lives. I really appreciate all of my partners have worked really hard from the LB Advisory Committee, those members that don't get the recognition, the Bruce Jeromes, Dr. Insani, Dr. Ajike, of course, Darolyn, and all of them that have taken part in helping us draft this and make sure that we had the right message, that we listen to the right community members. People that were not part of the advisory committee, the Noel Bonners and the Patrick Ryans, who took it upon themselves to make sure that they engaged with the small community and helped that voice come out so that we can listen to them, pay attention to them, focus on their needs, and make sure that we created the opportunity for them to succeed. And most of all, I remember 30 years ago when I was a wee young lad, and how a civil servant came to me when it was 14B and says, you know, Miguel, we need young entrepreneurs. We need young people to be engaged in the community. We have older generation that's retiring. We need young blood. And that person was Ed Lee. And he told me, be engaged, be part of the community, focus in on what you can do for your community, and you'll benefit greatly, richly, and rewardingly. And so I've always taken that to heart. Now that I'm the old statesman of the program, looking forward to passing that baton on to those younger entrepreneurs that want to make a difference. You know, I was a kid from the Mission District, and then ultimately the Excelsior District. And yeah, I went to Doug High, Balboa. But you know what? At the end of the day, we made a difference. And at the end of the day, we're here because this program is meant to empower our people so that we can rise our community, so that we as African American, Latinos, Asians can all benefit and raise our community so we can all strive to be true San Franciscans, enjoying the prosperity that this city affords us and gives us the opportunity to succeed by. So with that, I want to introduce somebody who was pushing me, pulling me to my left, to my right, encouraging me, conspiring with me, and making sure that we had the right things to say to our legislators so that we had the right message. And with that, come up here, Ms. Davis, and take a bow.
Well, I'm going to be very brief. I just want to say, most of all, thank you to all of the supervisors, to my partners, my friends, people who I've gotten to know over the years of working through this legislation for many, many years. I started on this probably about 15 years ago, actually, when it was HRC, and didn't get much traction then. In 2015, thought we were almost there, and at the last minute, there were some changes to the legislation. So ever since then, I've been working on making sure that small businesses like mine, who are in San Francisco, have an equitable opportunity to do business here in the city that I was born and raised in and that I love. And I do business here because I want to be here and I want to stay here. And this legislation is going to allow me and a whole lot of other people, a lot of other small companies, continue to work and do business here in San Francisco. So thank you all for all the help and the work, Romulus in particular, because we had many long nights, lots of conversations about whether this could happen, and it actually has. And it's hard for me to believe that we're here because I've been on this fight for so long that we actually have crossed over to having a piece of legislation that'll make a difference for all of us. So thank you.
All right. Well, let's get this legislation signed. Come and join me, the two of you.